there a story about anyone in particular that you've worked with that still makes you smile?
Yeah, absolutely. We had a young man, his name's Matt, and Matt has Down syndrome. And Matt joined, we had done a class for this wonderful organization in Fort Collins called the Cooper Home, that helps adults transition out of high school that have some special needs and helps them prepare for adulthood and being self-sufficient. And so we taught a class, and that's where we met Matt. Matt wanted to continue because he really wanted to be a black belt. And it was just a wonderful journey with Matt. Always positive, always smiling. We were very lucky. There was another adult in the class that he really connected with, and he and that gentleman would practice the patterns together. And to be honest, Matt was following along quite a bit, and that's okay. One of the things that I think martial arts can be for someone is an opportunity not to be compared to everybody else. Sometimes we have to remind students and oftentimes parents that, hey, God forbid, if your kid ever needs to use karate, what the kid next to him knows is not going to save him. So let's not focus on what anyone else in the room can do or not do. Let's focus on what you can do. But Matt got all the way to black belt, and some of my favorite memories with Matt this was a while ago, he'd bring in CDs and he'd ask me to turn on a certain track, and he had made up his own routines, and he would start, a very dramatic pose, and he'd just start karateing in a circle. And so a couple of times he ended up like literally attacking me. And so I can remember I'm running around the room yelling, turn it off, right? And the music go off, and he'd be like, what do you think? And I'd say, Matt, that was something, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Matt did earn his black belt. He had his parents threw him a party, and we went to his apartment. It was really cool. There was a picture of me on his door, right next to the front door, and it was his list of people that were safe to let into his house and safe people to be around. And so, that was really touching to have meant that much to Matt and to his family. And so I would say, we've had a lot of really incredible students come through, but Matt's definitely one of my favorite stories.
Touching. I can only imagine like being able to touch individual lives like that and through such a journey. Like it just growth. Like I can imagine that you're with these people for a long period of time.
Yeah, I think martial arts, that's one of the things that it does really well, with the belt system. In most martial arts, the belt that you wear kind of represents your journey through it. And so, little kids in particular are so visually stimulated, right? So as an adult, if we work out and our jeans fit a little better, oftentimes, that could be enough for us. But having those belts that really reaffirm to the kid visually, hey, I'm succeeding and I'm moving forward, and the struggle that I'm putting in day after day is earning me something that's important to me, I think is an opportunity to take that concept and then relate it to maybe struggles at school or struggles professionally or struggles at home that consistent effort over time can equal results that are.
That's incredible. Do you feel like your younger self knew this was the kind of life you were going to live, that you were going to put so much impact into people like this?
I knew when I was young that owning a martial arts school is what I wanted to do. The head of the organization that we're a part of, his title was Grandmaster. Grandmaster Lee came to my blue belt testing when I was 7. And I remember my instructor was so nervous, and because my brother and I were the highest people in his school. It was a newer school, and he was so excited to show off the school to his instructor. And at that level, part of the belt test was you had to break a board. And you got 3 shots, and if it broke, you had the opportunity to pass, based off of how you did on the other events. And if it didn't break, you needed to try again. And kicked my board 3 times. It didn't break. And I started crying because I was 7, and my brother was going to pass and I wasn't going to. And Grandmaster got up from the table and came over and gave me a big hug. And he held the board for me, and I kicked it and I broke it. And he gave me another hug and he whispered, "You'll do great things." And that was the moment, 7 years old, that I knew this is all I ever wanted to do.
Gosh.
Yeah, he was pretty incredible. A couple other times in our karate journey, unfortunately, Grandmaster passed away in 2000 from cancer.
Oh.
But he, in 1999, was at one of my black belt testings, and hadn't admitted it to anyone yet that he had cancer. Seemed a little off, seemed a little low energy, because he unfortunately passed away 3 months later from that. So I'm sure the cancer had been taking its toll on him by then. But was just never one to make it about himself. Was never one to take away from your shine or your moment. And so, he was really one of those special people. I think, you read about Mother Teresa or MLK or someone like that, and you say, I wonder if there's anyone left like that in the world. And I really do think he was one of those people.